Told me I was hopeless. Now the same people hit me up, I never noticed. Every minute that you spent hating on me was another minute that I spent working on my own shit. Had to stay focused, never could've hoped it. Never could've played it till you feel like you have nothing, you would never understand it. Compliments are always backhanded. I see people looking for a hand, I can never fucking stand it. I just make anthems and spill out my soul on these pages. Was meant for it, never was random. Used pain as the paint for this painting. I just miss what could've been, but I should just water my grass and not worry about if the grass would be greener. Damn, it's also ironic, I wrote my first lines while I worked at the theater. Now I'm wishing I could rewind time, want you back in my room like I do with a movie. Broken my heart and mind so many times, now you can see right through me.
What is good, everyone? Richard here from Weed City Soul. We're here to do a performance review on the Under Armour Curry 4. The Curry 4 debuted during the 2017 finals. Steph wore him from game 1 throughout the entire series. In game 1, he hit that big 3. He started walking down the court, kicking his feet into the air. It was a huge moment that built a lot of hype for this shoe, and it's finally here. Does it perform well? We're about to find out. So we're going to start with the cushioning as usual. Low profile, open cell foam. All throughout. Now this foam or this cushioning tech doesn't actually have a name. I'm not sure why Under Armour decided to do that. They developed a new foam recently called Hover, H-O-V-R, Hover. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be Hover, but it doesn't say anywhere on the shoe, and there is no product description online from Under Armour anywhere that names the tech for the cushioning inside the shoe. It's a bit of a poor marketing choice from Under Armour, considering how poorly the Curry 3 did. They really could have used a new buzzword to really get people excited about buying the newest Curry, just to make them feel like they're getting something new and innovative for their money. So no surprises here, really. The Curry line, since its inception, has been the pinnacle of court feel in the basketball industry, and nothing has changed this year. This thing makes you feel like you're standing directly on top of the ground. The court feel is just phenomenal. It really offers you supreme court control. You can move quickly and nimbly with no lag time whatsoever. In terms of impact protection, I did find myself wishing that there was a little more there. I'm a pretty heavy guy. I weigh about 220. I'm 5'8". You guys can see from the video that I'm built like a brick. I'm not fat, but I'm not skinny either. I'm just a thick, dense guy, so I can put a lot of force on shoes. I basically make a living bullying people on the court because I'm physically stronger than 90% of the people I come across. That includes guards and bigs. It's the one really big advantage to my game is my physical strength. I am very, very difficult to move if I don't feel like it. So I like to do a lot of things like play really aggressive defense. I like to do a lot of moves like drop steps so I can overpower my opponents. And I just felt that this shoe was a little bit lacking underfoot. The cushioning feel is pretty much non-existent. There's no response to the cushioning itself. It doesn't bounce back. It doesn't give you a ton of energy return. There is a little bit of a cushy feeling to the foam and to the sock liner as well. But overall, it's going to be a really, really firm ride underfoot. Transition is all right. They're not super clunky, but you don't really feel that ultra smooth feeling when you're running up and down the court in these either. It's all right. On to the upper. This is the first Curry shoe with a knit upper. The knit upper is surrounded by a synthetic that almost has a leather-like texture to it. While I think this shoe looks great personally, it also looks really difficult to get into. But what I found when I was able to get my hands on the shoe finally is that just a little bit of stretch, it doesn't really move that much when you stretch it, but it is enough. The shoe is built perfectly that once you pull it and you put your foot in, your foot's just going to slide in very easily. There's not a lot of trouble to it. The shoe fits very true to size. Fit is definitely one of the strong points of this shoe. This thing can lock it down. The woven portion of the upper fits really well around your foot. It's nice and snug, gives you that one-to-one kind of feeling that you like around your ankle and your midfoot. Where you do have issues with the fit is with this synthetic material. It's not the most natural or flexible stuff. You do feel some what I would call folding of the material over your foot in unnatural ways, where it will bend outwards, not along your ankle, and that occurs around a little bit around the forefoot sometimes too. It's not a deal breaker by any means. It's just something that was noticeable, and it was a little bit bothersome. Now, an interesting point of contention on the fit is going to be this relatively wide toe box. The toe box is accommodating for a lot of foot shapes, but it does kind of affect the fit and the support in the forefoot a little bit. Sometimes I felt like it was a little bit floppy when I wished it would have really held my foot in place. But you can adjust the laces, and it will kind of cinch that in for you, but then we do again get that kind of odd folding going on right there. As you can see, it's not the most comfortable thing to have lying over your foot. It just feels really unnatural and noticeable. Now, a majority of the lacing system does run through this woven part, and it is a little bit difficult because they do the two-hole eyelet system that seems to be becoming very popular on a lot of shoes. It is a little difficult to adjust the laces sometimes. It's just something that I found a little bit bothersome. Not a big deal though. On to the comfort, I've heard a lot of people say that this shoe is good to go straight out of the box and that there's no break-in time required. Fuck that. This shoe is incredibly painful for the first few hours. There is a underlay under the eyelets. I thought it was heat welding at first, but it's actually like a fabric nubuck suede material. That and basically everything around this portion of the shoe, just in the ankle area in the front, really bit into my foot. It took a while for me to break these things in. After that, it did feel pretty great, especially on the parts with the upper. Again, not a big fan of this overlay. It's not the worst, most uncomfortable thing ever, but I mean, I think they could have done something a little different, just to make sure that it just didn't feel like, it almost feels like this is two different shoes sometimes. Just this really awesome woven material, and then just this last gen Hyperfuse, which I generally kind of like. I am a big fan of the last gen Hyperfuse, but this is more of a, almost like, it's not a synth leather, but it almost seems like, and it just doesn't move very well. Now, what the overlay does is actually act as your support rands. It offers you your lateral stability, and it does a pretty decent job at that. It's not the most supportive shoe I've ever worn, but when I was moving side to side, making sharp cuts and stuff like that, my foot never went off with a footbed, and that's thanks to the synth material here. Staying on the subject of support, and I've never really had this feeling before, and it wasn't something that I noticed all the time, that I felt constantly while I was wearing these, but there were a couple of times where I felt like the shoe needed a lot more torsional rigidity. I would just plant my foot down and the shoe would just twist, and that's not a good thing. This is never a good thing inside of a shoe, to be able to do this. I'm not sure how big the midfoot shank in this thing is, but it could probably be bigger, because I mean, this thing every once in a while it would just bend a little more than I would like across the bottom of the midfoot, and that is a bad thing. That's not good. Again, I weigh a lot for a guard. I put a lot of force on shoes, so that probably has at least something to do with it. But still, I've never felt that before, and I felt it on this shoe 2 or 3 times. On the traction, another area in which the Curry line kills it every year. The circular tread offers phenomenal multi-direction cushioning. It squeaks. It allows you to stop on a dime. I played on a shitty floor a couple times, and it still worked out okay as long as I kept wiping. This stuff is beast. Now, in terms of craftsmanship, the build quality is It's not fantastic. There is some glue residue and stuff all around the shoe. Again, this part does feel a little cheap overall, and it does make the shoe feel cheap overall. The woven part doesn't feel cheap. This woven part feels fantastic, but it's just the synthetic overlay again. From a signature standpoint, I think this is a really great looking shoe. In fact, most people have said that they think this is the best looking Curry shoe so far. And I think I would have to tend to agree. This thing looks cool. It looks very futuristic. It looks like a speed sock for the court. Under Armour put a lot of effort this year into minimizing the company logo in favor of Steph Curry's logo. And I think it did a lot to kind of streamline the look of the shoe. There's some really great signature pieces on the shoe as well. There's literally a physical signature on the right shoe on the midfoot shank. Interestingly enough, there isn't one on the other shoe. Under Armour is the only company that does strange stuff like that. I never understand why. But there's also the name of Steph's 2 kids and their birth year on one shoe. And Steph's own name along with the name of his wife and their birth years on the other shoe. Now, I really like this blue colorway. I like the fade from the dark navy up into the royal. This is called the More Fun colorway, but really it's a Dub Nation colorway, and that's all because of this one little leather strip here. I think this strip makes this colorway entirely. I don't think this colorway would look nearly as good without this stripe. It's a nice subtle design cue, and I think it looks really awesome. The leather piece itself reads 4SC, or it can also be read as WSC for Wardell Stephen Curry. So is this shoe worth your money? Yeah, I mean, it's a solid performing basketball shoe. There's better performers out there for around the same price point, but I mean, if you're a really big Steph Curry fan, it's a really great looking signature shoe. I think they're going to tell a lot of great stories with the colorways this year, and especially if you're a really small, fast guard whose game is predicated on speed, I bet you would like these a lot, actually. Now, what this shoe really is the spiritual successor to the Curry 2. All of the shoe's strong points are the same. Great court feel, great traction, strong fit. I do like the Curry 2 a little better. It's more comfortable. The cushioning's better, the traction's better. The fit is really awesome. It's just a tough shoe to beat. This is one of the top 5 performance shoes of all time, in my personal opinion. So it's a tough shoe to beat. But the Curry 4 is similar in a lot of ways. So if you really like the Curry 2, the Curry 4 is definitely something that you should take a look at. If you're a small, fast guard whose game is predicated on speed, if you really like court feel and beastly traction is a must for you, then the Curry 4 is definitely a shoe that you should look at. If you're looking for a well-cushioned shoe in a high-quality feeling, comfortable package, the Curry 4 might not be for you. If this review has been helpful to you at all, please comment, like, and hit that subscribe button below. It really helps us out. Until next time, guys, I'm Richard from Weed City Soul, and remember, they're just shoes.